good to have you back on Newsday. Now, a federal grand jury in the United States has expanded charges against a member of the U.S. Air National Guard being held on suspicion of leaking classified government secrets. Jack Teixeira was arrested in April for allegedly posting highly classified defense information on a public messaging app. 21-year-old now faces 6 counts of retaining and transmitting classified information on a gaming website. He was arrested at his Massachusetts home in April, but was not formally charged until Thursday. He remains in custody pending his trial, and he faces decades in prison if convicted. Documents include U.S. assessments of the war in Ukraine, as well as sensitive secrets about American allies. Rise U.S. correspondent Rotimi Kade has been monitoring developments, and he joins us now from the U.S. for more on this. Good to have you, Rotimi. Now, tell us more about what Jack Teixeira has been charged with so far.
The federal grand jury in Boston, Massachusetts, I should say, I beg your pardon. I've actually indicted him on a 6-count charge, which borders on the removal, retention, and transmission of classified and sensitive materials that jeopardizes the national security of the United States. If found guilty, he's most likely going to face 10 years on each of those counts, which makes it to almost like 60 years in prison, and also it will be fined up to $250,000. Jack Teixeira also have some military background and IT background as well. As it were, the judge actually said that he should be remanded in custody because he's obviously could be a target and trying to flee. Recall that in 2013, the national security contractor Edward Snowden was in similar conditions. He had he was privy to all this information, and of course, exposed it and left the country. So this time around, they're taking no sort of excuse in letting him be in that kind of position where he can flee the country. But currently, right now, I think the national security apparatus have taken some of these things very seriously.
And Rotimi, from some other reports from earlier, we know that he was on this group messaging platform almost bragging to his friends with some of these documents that were highly sensitive. Just how damaging are these leaks?
Well, it's very damaging because when you look at the war in Ukraine right now, you can see that part of the charges that was leveled against him was leaking some very sensitive information as regards to the war in Ukraine. And as a result, it would be a target for foreign governments, especially Russia, who may try to help him to escape the United States. And with that kind of sensitive information that is on public domain, you could expect that could have weakened the United States proxy war in Ukraine, and it will force the national security apparatus to actually rethink, rejig, and go back to the drawing board to see how they can, or make other plans to ensure that they prosecute the war, appropriately. However, I think there are other national security information that was actually leaked, in that which, of course, was not exclusively given to the public. But for this, I think it's really a huge setback, for the United States' efforts in ensuring that Ukraine remain a sovereign country.
Indeed, Rotimi. Now, let's take a look at tornadoes in Texas. What can you tell us about the damage there so far?
Well, I think the damage there is enormous, and of course, there's devastating effects. The aftermath of that, actually, I've seen quite a number of people landed in hospital. About 50 to 100 people we understand are currently in a nearby hospital. About 10 people are critically injured, and they've been flown to other specialist hospitals in other states. Currently, right now, as we speak, over 400,000 households are without power in Texas, Louisiana, and in Mississippi and Oklahoma as well, because this tornado actually wiped, most of this, anything on its part along these lines. And right now, I think the National Meteorology Agency are trying to still ascertain the damages that have been done so far. And also FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agencies, are getting some relief materials down to the people that need it.
Well, it's tragic stuff. Good to hear all of that from you. Thank you for joining us, Rotimi. Thank you.